As it is, a Monster Monday brought to you by First 5 California. To learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress, go to first5california.com or turn on a Niner game. I have found them to be very stress-free. So if you've got toxic stress, turn on a 49er game and you will no longer feel stressed because they are the least stressful parts of my week. The 3 hours where I'm like, well, here come these guys. This is not going to be angst-filled at all.
Yeah, you haven't had any real angst. And you mentioned the one time all year that the Niners have trailed. And they've trailed for a grand total of about a minute 50. Right. Because against the Rams, they were down 17-10, and they promptly went down and scored. Do you remember the Brock Purdy with 1 second left
yes.
punching it in to tie the game, and they would not trail again in that football game. So it doesn't get much more stress-free than that when you don't ever trail.
Interesting one this week because obviously really good defense on the road, early window, all of that stuff. Look forward to talking about that a little bit later in the week. Let's get out to you, though. Let's start with Jonathan in the city on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Jonathan, what are you doing?
Just making coffee, man. The party just went on. You know, the party started second half, even before the second half started because it was over. And I just want to say, man, Brock is good, but people, where are you at? After this performance, if they don't shut up, they will never, ever, ever will. Mark and Dan Dibley. And also, I just want to say, I don't want them peaking too early. You know, I said that before, and I called up, and I think they're not peaking yet because, I mean, they're scary good now, but with this latest addition, imagine if the pass rush gets there more often, then we become a monster. I'm going to enjoy this win, man, and until next Sunday, go Niners.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm with you, and I know it's a challenge because we're not on the team, so we don't have to, you know, not get caught looking ahead. We don't have to do that because we don't have an effect on the game. But I really do try to just, and I encourage you to do this as well. Like, just keep it week to week. I really try. It's hard to not think about the Super Bowl when games like this happen. It's impossible to not think about it. But football can change every week on one play. Anything can happen. So just keep it week to week and have a ton of fun with it. And it doesn't mean, you know, it's not Super Bowl or bust. That can absolutely be your expectation. I just look at it more in terms of how can this team be stopped? This team is the best team in the NFL for a lot of different reasons.
Right.
For a lot of different reasons. And
we can play Find the Weakness, and we could spend the next 3.5 hours discussing what it is because I think it's a reach. And we could talk about the secondary, and then you watch the deep throw, and Mooney Ward is all the way down there on Gallup, reaches up and just bats it away on a 50-yard throw from Dak.
He was fantastic.
Right.
Ward was incredible. I think most people would answer your thought by saying, is it Thomas and Lenore if the quarterback on the other team gets time? Maybe, but I'd argue in the NFL if the other quarterback gets time, you're in trouble. You're in trouble as a defense if the other quarterback gets time.
Yeah.
No matter who your cover corners are.
Matt Stafford threw for 297, and that's the biggest number, and he did it to your guy, Puka Nacua, with just 1-2, boom, quick throw, quick throw, quick throw. Niners are playing off a lot in that game, and since then, they've been playing a lot more man-to-man, and with help behind it because you only need to rush 4 and at times 5, and so you've got 6 in coverage to cover their 5 guys. You've got extra bodies, and you don't even need extra bodies a lot of the time.
We're taking your calls. It's Willard and Dibs, 888-957-9570. Victory Monday. It is totally guest-free. You are the guest. What'd you think? Let's get into it. And is this team reminding you of Niner teams from 30 years ago? I don't think the Niners have looked like this since then. I'll put it that way. It's only a 5-game stretch, and obviously it doesn't matter when you don't finish the whole job, and so we'll see where this ends. But 49er football, to me, it has not looked like this on all sides of the ball in 30 years.
It's incredibly dominating football on both sides of the ball. The offense, I can't remember a long stretch this year where they've been stopped. They've been slowed, and they haven't stopped themselves. And defensively, you can't run on them. and it's tough to pass on them because they can get home with 4 or 5 guys. So what are you going to do other than, hope for turnovers, which there's only been 2 this entire year? And I think about the expectations, and you and I can get ahead of it and start to dream. I actually had a conversation with the lovely Supper this morning about Vegas and the Super Bowl, and how she's going to come out
Making
for
plans.
the second half of the week, and she's going to be shopping, and I'll be broadcasting, and we'll meet up later at the tables and all the rest of it. Vegas, Mark.
Have you spoken to the people who actually have the power to make that happen?
That would be the wife, and yes, Supper. She's in. We're going.
Okay. So you've got a spot for us to broadcast the show already?
Done.
Okay.
Everything, all the
Sweet.
I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Damn, I better get to work then.
Yeah. Well, if they go, we go, and we're all going.
Okay.
Ladies can hang out poolside while you and I grind over 4 hours of sports talk.
Where are my kids going? Are they coming?
Yeah, boy, that's a wrinkle. They're coming to watch my baby.
Can we go back to Zoom school? Is that
Right?
possible? Let's do some Zoom school.
Let's zoom it up.
No problem. I'm going to need a big room. That's all I can tell you. Doug in Wichita. Hey, Doug, you're on with Willie and Dibby. What are you doing?
Hey, I'm just getting off of work, fellas, and just enjoying a beautiful day here in Wichita with a good feeling because the Niners smacked the Cowboys just like I said they would. The only thing is I undersold the score. I was thinking 30-17, and the way that went, oh, man, I just couldn't be happier, man. People in my house thought I was crazy because I was so into the game. And, hey, on a serious note, I hope Van Der Esch, I hope his neck is good. That didn't look good, but
Yep.
Other than that, the Niners put down an old-fashioned beatdown, and then just when Dallas thought they could just send everybody to the house, we went over their heads. I can't even count how many times. And, man, Brock Purdy, just every game, the man just looks like he can't shake him. You can't do it. He's cool, man. That's all I can say, brother. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's get Cleveland next week.
Hey, Doug, thanks for the call. I remember Doug's call last week when he said 30-17, and I remember thinking, boy, that'd be great. I don't know if they're going to get 30 against this team. I was right. They got 40. Holy smokes.
42-10.
I mean, and you're right. And they bailed on the last quarter.
Completely.
They bailed on the last quarter with 42 points. It is reminding...
Sorry, Jordan.
Yeah,
and Sam and TDP. But yeah.
No, they did. They bailed. The starters bailed. I mean, it does remind you, I keep bringing up the Niners of the 80s, but also this was sort of a thing, and Lucas will remember this really well. The Pete Carroll era at USC, there was a thing. There was a dynamic that you would talk about, and people would try to guess the score because the score would essentially be around the same thing every time. You just knew there was a game flow, and it would change based on, I don't know, are there a couple extra interceptions this time? Do you get a short field? That would knock it up a few points, but it was basically the same idea. The good team would have around 6 to 7 scoring drives, and the bad team would have 2. And that leads to things that look like 38-13, 35-14, 42-10. It didn't matter who the opponent was. That was the final score.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way that team was, and they were that much better than everyone else. That's what this group is starting to look like. And you kind of now have to remove the whole, the schedule. I mean, have they played Philly? Have they played the Chiefs? No. They've played the Rams on the road. They've played the Cowboys now on Sunday Night Football. It looks the same. Looks the same no matter who they're playing.
December 3rd is at Philadelphia. Yeah. So between now and December 3rd, they're not going to play a team that is as good as Philadelphia. But I like what you said earlier, Mark, about just trying to enjoy each and every game. Yes, we can skip ahead to the Super Bowl or to December 3rd against Philly and all the other games that you want to talk about that are down the road. But the one thing I'm trying to do with this team is just enjoy each game because it really is a 3-hour party. An offense that is so efficient. It's fun to watch. The expectation of the pass being completed. There's not any worry. Like even Colton McKivitz, is he the weak spot on the O-line? Well, he sure hasn't been.
They were fine. They were absolutely fine. This is a stupid question. I'll say it out loud. It's a stupid question.
Stupidest question ever?
No, it's not the stupidest question ever, but it's not. Don't play Zaza because it's not a great question, but also a stupid question.
I was kind of asking for the Bonte, but go ahead.
It's just a stupid question.
Stupidest question ever.
Not ever, but stupid. But just for fun. Do you think that the 49ers will be 11-0 when they get to Philly?
Yeah. Yeah, unless they can squeeze in another game before that and they'll be 12-0. I mean, they're favored by 5 at Cleveland.
It's at Cleveland, and then it's at Minnesota, and then it's home to the Bengals. And then it's a week off, and then it's at Jacksonville, it's home to Tampa, and at Seattle. I mean, there's no like total pushovers in there. I know people will say Minnesota's 1-4, but that's the Vikings.
And it's the second half of a road trip. Do we know if they're staying in Youngstown? If they're doing
I don't know.
A stay away, a play and stay?
And it's also a Monday night in Minnesota, so they do have an extra day. You know what I mean? It's an 8-day week, not a 7-day week.
6-game slate, the toughest game is at Jacksonville, and you're coming off a bye. Jacksonville sure looked good.
Jacksonville's good. I don't know if they're ready for the 49ers. At Seattle on Thanksgiving, that's always a thing.
Yeah, double short week for both teams.
Yeah,
but between now and December 3rd, 6 games, I'm trying to take your advice and just enjoy them all week by week, because it's so fun to watch this team, offense, defense. It's a blast.
One thing I do want to caution, and I'm not saying it's not going to be a tough game, and I'm not saying that Philadelphia is not the biggest competition to the 49ers in the NFC. Here's what I am saying. Philadelphia is not going to be anywhere near 11-0. I will promise you right now, go ahead and mark the tape, that the Eagles will have at least 2 losses by the time the 49ers get there on December 3rd. Lock it in. Lock it up. Listen to this. This is what Philadelphia has.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
By the time they get to December 3rd against the 49ers. Even their quote-unquote games off are not that. Next week, at New York against the Jets. Let's see Jalen Hurts against that defense. I'm interested. Then they host the Miami Dolphins. Sign me up to watch every single play of that one. Then they go to Washington, a team we already know gave them trouble last year, gave them trouble last week. So, and then they're home to Dallas on November 5th, followed by a bye week, and get ready for the 1-2 punch before the Niners come to town at Kansas City, home to Buffalo. The Eagles stretch, like you want to talk about a first-place schedule. Good Lord. And by the way, once the Niners are done, it's at Dallas, at Seattle the next 2 weeks. Philadelphia's schedule for the next 2 months is insane.
Difficult.
It is insane.
To be certain. So 6 games for Philly between now and the Niners. 11-0 would be, wow, quite impressive. 10-1 would be impressive, considering you have Buffalo on a short week, too, because you play Monday night at Kansas City.
Good point.
And, it's not ever easy when you play a divisional game, especially in that division. Washington and Dallas back-to-back.
Well, and the Eagles are not blowing people out. Like, for whatever that's worth. The 49ers are blowing people off of the field. The Eagles beat Tampa by 2 scores. They beat the Rams by, I guess, 2 scores, a score and a half, a touchdown and a half, right? But Washington, an overtime game. Minnesota, we remember that one went down to the end, 6-point game. And the New England Patriots, a 5-point game, especially looking at who they are now. Gosh, they're one of the worst teams in the league. So all credit to Philly, they're 5-0. But this is more a nod to who they've got to go through over the next month and a half. It is as intense of a schedule as you will see across the entire league.
Without a doubt. And, you talk about Buffalo and Kansas City back-to-back, and then the Niners?
And then the Niners. Those 3. And Dallas after that. Think of that now. That's 4 straight weeks. Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys.
Well, it's 5 straight games because they have Dallas going into the bye. So
correct.
Dallas the bye, Kansas City, Buffalo, Niners, and Dallas again. Then to Seattle, a team that likely will still be playing for a lot. So it's quite a gauntlet. And I wonder if the powers that be, didn't do this somewhat on purpose to smote Philadelphia. Keep them down, Mark.
That's about enough of that brotherly shove. Is that what you're saying?
That being said, that brotherly shove's going away.
I agree with you, although there's a fair debate as to whether or not it should. It will, because it's just a bad look. and the NFL
Well,
makes
now
bad
people
looks.
are getting hurt. The Giants lost 2 players during that play last week.
But would you blame it solely on that play? Like, people get hurt on every play in
Right.
the NFL. You know what I mean? I agree with you. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to blame safety.
Sure.
I don't think it's necessarily a fair reason. I think they just don't like the look of it. It's a fait accompli play for the Eagles.
Right.
You can't stop it.
Well, the way I would try to stop it is I would send somebody after the quarterback.
How do you even send someone after the quarterback? He's in the middle of a pile of humanity.
You go headlong straight up the gut.
I don't
like
even know
a
how to
human
get
missile.
to him.
Yeah.
Like, he's insulated.
Yeah.
He's in there somewhere. I can't even find him.
So's the football,
Right.
allegedly.
David in Modesto here on Willard and Dibs. Hi, David. Thanks for calling.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up?
Same old, man. Y'all excited from the last night's game? Kind of hungover? Drank too much?
What did you
But-
drink, David?
We drank what is it called? Siete Ligas, which is Leguas. It's a tequila.
And how many of those did you have?
Well, the Niners scored so fast, we were 6 shots right off the gate. You know what I mean?
Oh, you were playing that game. You were doing
Oh, yes, we did.
Oh, my gosh. That's almost like the Roxanne drinking game. Remember I told you about that?
Yeah.
Where, like, you shot a beer every time he says Roxanne in that song. It's kind of the same thing watching the Niners score. You took a shot every time they scored?
Every time they scored, man. They scored faster than I thought. I expected I was going to take 3 shots, but they doubled down, you know?
Good for you, David.
But, oh, yeah, I went to work, and it was a bad day today. But anyhow, hey, so I got a quick question. Did you guys see I'm sure you guys seen it, when McCaffrey got hit, I kind of thought he might have had a little concussion there. I remember when Alex Smith got hit like that, he went out for a couple plays, and that's when he told himself, hey, I'm not feeling good. To me, McCaffrey didn't look that good after that. Also, his eyes look foggy and everything. I don't know. I just want to take your guys' take on that.
Well,
if they should be looking out for that.
First of all, on the story you just told us, it might have been that your eyes were the foggy ones, not Christian. So I don't know how you can, after 6 shots of tequila, I'm not sure if we're going live to David for any thoughts on what CMC looked like. I'll tell you this. I'll just say this. Certainly when you see a play like that, when you watch football in 2023, it's the first thought that comes through your mind. And Christian jumped up so quick that it almost made me think, players know if you get hit in the head and you don't jump up right away, you're going to the tent. You're going to the tent. So I don't know if Christian was just like, stand up. But I didn't really see anything visual other than that. It certainly looked like a concussion play.
Sure.
But I didn't see Christian. He didn't look any worse for the wear to me.
At all. And they have the eye in the sky who can call down and remove players from the field. So if you see something from above, although it didn't work in the Tua play last year where he basically was bumbling and stumbling trying to get to the next play, but they have somebody watching for that very thing. So the hit happens, McCaffrey jumps up, and the concussion protocol people are all eyes on McCaffrey to see of any signs. And I didn't think that he was showing any signs of concussion. He didn't look like he had a blank expression. Now, he would go out and lose, I think, 3 yards on the next play.
The next play was a run play.
The next carry, yeah. But I don't think that he lost that yardage because he was concussed. And I would not be surprised if the word came out that he did have, some lingering effects because he got hit so hard in the head.
Well, I mean, we know this about concussions. There can be a delay. There can absolutely be a delay. So maybe he woke up with a headache this morning. I certainly hope not.
Yeah.
But I didn't see anything in that moment that would suggest there was any sort of a problem. Christian's got kind of he doesn't have that expressive of a face to begin with.
Game
so
face.
It's just all business, yeah. You know what I mean? The whole team.